Hello and welcome into another video, and very quickly, I swear the only time I ever actually get around to updating these apps is when I do videos because they're great to just do stock footage in the background. But today's episode, I'm going to be talking about stories from essentially my local game store. And again, game is the actual brand of what the store was. I'm not trying to just be vague. And if anything, I'm going to see a little bit of, okay, how badly washed out does this look with the GBA version on the screen? I never realised that before. Anyway, we used to have an electronic boutique, and it was what is inside of what is known as the Bridges. The Bridges is essentially a mall. So we had the mall, and then you had a shopping lane to the mall, and we had an electronic boutique inside, and we had a game store outside. And I always got on better with the people in the electronic boutique. And also the controls are completely wrong on the GBA version as well. Okay. I used to get on that jump. Okay, I used to get on really well with the people in Electronic Boutique and not as well with the people outside at Game. And then eventually, Electronic Boutique sold all of their stores to Game in the UK, and Game literally just doubled up all of their locations. So they both became Game. They kind of all worked together, but they still kept to their same stores. So it was the actual game store, though, the game outside. I was in there one day, and I was on a mission hunting for a Rock Band kit because someone wanted one, and me being the resident gamer and knowing how to actually get things and talk to people in the game store, because I was friends with almost all of them. Even in the store where I didn't frequent as much, I at least still had a couple of people, mainly the managers, because they were the ones who did swap places. And I'm in there, and I'm adamant, just like, listen, I want a Rock Band kit, specifically the one with the drums. And it was holiday time because someone wanted it for their kid for Christmas, and I'm sitting there getting the usual from a holiday temp, refusing to let Band Hero drop. And there's a lot of people out there who'll have had this moment in their life. I'm going to refer to it as the Ron Swanson moment from Parks and Rec. At the time, that show didn't exist. So I didn't have the whole pull out a piece of paper and go, I know more than you. But I could actually prove that I knew more than him. And he kept trying to do the sell on, instead of Rock Band, would you like Band Hero instead? Because they had so many Band Heroes they were trying to shift, and Rock Band was more in demand. And I was trying to figure out if they actually had any out back. And by the time I was done. Like, I'm always nice, by the way. I'm never a Karen. I'm never anything like this, that, and the other. I do actually respect people who work at these things, and I understand that temps are just temps. Of course, they don't know anything. That he really wasn't a gamer, and he was just trying to do the hard sell thing. But if you do not give, respect to people, and after 5 times I'd said, no, I know which one I want, I then explained exactly why I wanted that one, going through all of the defects and problems with Band Hero, going through all of the issues with the artistry, going on to the fact that the child who was getting it liked rock and metal a lot more than pop. I went through absolutely everything of the whole, listen, my dude, I know more than you. I want what I want, I'm trying to spend money here, and I'm starting to get a little angry. And at this point, the manager, whom knew me really fucking well, and the manager was actually really stern, by the way. The manager was the one who always dealt with the Karens who took no shit from anyone, and everyone said that she was the main one, and no, she was amazing. She just did her job, and she made sure not to take any shit. She was actually very much like myself, and she walked over and was like, listen, I've been listening to this for the last 3 minutes. They've told you about 15 times they want Rock Band. I can actually assure you that this customer knows more than you. So would you please just go get the goddamn Rock Band that we've got out back? And by this point as well, the hilarious part is, someone standing beside me walked up to me and went, I was about to buy Band Hero for my kid. What, do you seriously recommend Rock Band? And I went through everything with this like father again, on top of the fact that by the time I told him the track list, I'm like, so it's the sort of thing that you might actually fucking play with your kids. He's like, do you have any more of those Rock Band kits? And the manager was over the fucking moon. I'd just made a better salesman than, like, the salesman, So yeah, this is why I did actually frequent place and get good fucking results and know how to work with the managers really well, because I actually ended up doing fucking better jobs than the temps did. at actually moving their fucking product. And it's one of those where I used to love doing this. It's the thing that I miss the most about being able to go to a local game store. Because I was never on the store's side. And the managers, all of the staff knew this. They knew I was on the side of trying to help people, whichever that is. So if you got someone who didn't understand their tech, I'd make sure that they actually understood the value. I've gotten people better trading prices before. Like, genuinely, I've been the person who was waiting to trade stuff in, and as they're going through the list, I actually, because again, I knew the people. I'd never do this now because I don't know any of the staff there, but because I knew the people and they knew that I was like this, I'd be like, hey, you do realise you only gave that much trade for the limited edition of that? And it's like, yeah. It's like, well, do you not remember I traded that in myself 2 weeks ago? Has the value really dropped that much? And no, the system flagged it as the wrong version of the game. So I managed to get the person, like, it had still dropped in value, but I'd managed to get the person something like an extra tenner. And none of the staff were ever an arsehole about it. They were never like, I'd screwed them over. It's like, no, by doing this, I'm actually helping their customers as well, which the person who got the extra money was over the fucking moon and was like, oh yeah, I need to actually trade more stuff in. And it's like, oh yeah, like, genuinely, they will give you a good price, but sometimes these little things happen and it's just like the computer system. And again, the manageress came around, sorted it, and figured out what the issue was, manually entered the code, give the extra fucking credit. It's like, it is so easy to actually put yourself in that situation and help both sides there. And there are definitely some times when I fucked the store out of stuff and felt a little bad about it, and then probably ended up spending a little bit of extra money. But again, they never complained about that either, where if it was a case of someone was in the middle of talking about a game and I can't even remember what it was, but it was definitely a parent buying Call of Duty for their kid. Like, I want to say maybe it was Black Ops, maybe it was a little earlier than Black Ops, or maybe it was when it was still fucking World at War. But the issue was she couldn't figure out what was the right one to buy, and the salesperson was steering her the wrong way. And he was steering her the wrong way because they didn't actually have any of the one left in stock that it was that she wanted. And by the time I was done, she actually went round to one of the competitors and bought it because I actually knew that Granger Games around the corner had one in stock. So I've cost them sales as well, but that's the other thing. There was like 4 game stores in that area at the time. So 2 games, a Game Station and a Granger Games, and I knew everyone and everyone. This was my religious commune type thing. This was like my church. I would just go into game stores and I would frequent a different one. Like, I was usually being dragged to the bridges anyway for all sorts of different reasons, so I'd always just break off and I'm like, well, I'll just spend 15-20 minutes talking to people in here because at least I'm going to actually have a good conversation. And the amount of times that you would end off getting so much beneficial treatment just by being friends with the actual people who work there. I used to have quite a few of them on my Xbox Live at one point, and as always, we ended up losing touch, but it's like we had quite a few of us just sitting around fucking all playing stuff, and it was really fucking dope. And I never got any like major exclusive access or anything. I don't know how long I want to make this, because this is the problem. There's so many stories that are going to naturally blend into each other. So I don't know if I want to just now continue on and say that this will be like the final thing. Fuck it, I'll go for it because I am actually enjoying recording this at this moment in time. The day the Nintendo Wii came out. So, again, the bridges, it's a shopping mall type thing. They refused to let them open at midnight. They said, we'll open the doors for you at 5 AM so customers can come in and wait, and we'll let you open at 6 AM. But we're not opening the entire shopping mall for a midnight thing for one fucking store. But we'll give you the early thing because we know this is like a big deal for the holiday and it's going to be good for us as well. Personally, I think they should have had, more businesses open, because there's quite a few of us who would have actually loved to have bought a coffee or something to eat or anything like that. But no one will ever accuse anyone in Sunderland, especially Sunderland Council, government or anything, of having any ounce of brain matter. It just truly is a fucking shithole, this place. And I've probably mentioned it before, but the fact that we voted Brexit is one of the things, and the fact that we fucking built a multi-million fucking pound bridge to benefit a company that told us that if we voted Brexit, they would be leaving anyway. It, like, they haven't left yet. I'm assuming they did some of deal, but we're probably being completely fleeced by them, and no one uses the bridge. Anyway, this is a different rant for a different fucking thing. So, the day the Nintendo Wii came out, I always had a fucked sleep cycle anyway, due to a lot of issues in my life with, as anyone who's watched any of the trauma vids knows. So, I didn't sleep that night, and basically 4 AM, got up, went on the bus with my brother, whom I was going to pick up 2 Nintendo Wiis with, and got there first in line, and we're standing there, and then a third person comes in, and then as the third person comes in, there's a Bob the Builder machine. You know, one of those little rides that kids ride on? Bob the Builder machine just randomly turns on. Just that there'd been power in the place, but they must have only turned some of the lights on, and now they were turning the mains on. And suddenly, can we fix it? Followed by the theme tune. And this is another one of those things where, before the whole Ron Swanson meme, before How I Met Your Mother did it, by the time the shop opened an hour later, let's cut 10 minutes before, the last people were joining the queue, Bob the Builder went off. The people at the end of the queue, very loudly, "Oh my god, that thing's going to annoy the crap out of us. I hope it doesn't go off too many times." The moment they'd stopped having the conversation, us at the front of the queue yelled, "Can we fix it?" in perfect beat for beat minute, like second for second, as the machine kicked off, followed by the next person behind us starting to sing the theme tune. And they just looked and stared, and it's like, yeah, that's how often it goes off. We've been here a while. So, yeah, it was absolute hell to have that going off for an hour, but it was decent. We had quite a few people just sitting there, all talking. Most of them were parents trying to buy it for their kids. There were only a couple of people who actually wanted it for themselves. We were obviously the mix of getting one for us, one for the little brother for Christmas, and it was fun enough until 10 minutes before. As I say, this is kind of where I wanted to cut to. The people who work at the game store, whom I all knew, again, started to come up to the front of the barrier, because they had, like, the massive barrier down to stop people from getting in. And I'm trying not to use triggering words. I'll say, started to make out with the boxes of Wiis, basically taunting the people in the queue, taunting everyone specifically that they had already managed to purchase their own before the store had opened, because, you know, perks of working there, that they had all of their stuff, and then they were trying to do the whole, I don't know if there's enough here, there might only be enough for the first 3 people, and I know the person at the front wants 5 switches themselves, which was a lie, obviously, but all trying to wind the crowd up and everything. And we got in, and I was, again, always fair with them. And I actually, despite being first in the line, first in the queue, I said, "Listen, I understand my order is going to be a problem. You might want to, like, serve some other people first." And the manager was like, "Oh god, what have you ordered?" And it's like, okay, so I need 2 Nintendo Switches, I need 2 Wii Remotes, I need 2 Nunchucks, I need 2 classic controllers, I need 4,000 Wii points, I need a copy of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, I need a copy of Red Steel. There was something else. I'm forgetting it now, but there was something else, and there was more things as well. There was another game. There was definitely another game, because I remember I got Red Steel, Zelda, Wii Sports, obviously, because it came with it. What the fuck was the 4th game that I got with the Wii? Anyway, I got that. I got some accessories. By the time I was done reading off the list, she was like, "You've pre-ordered all of that?" And it's like, "Yep. Pre-ordered all of it, so it should all be there." She's like, "Oh, it'll be there, but I can't believe they didn't warn us in advance. We should have been prepping your order for the last 35 minutes. It's like, "Yep, I know," which is why I'm going to stand over here, and are you happy to just serve other customers? And it's like, "Yep, please do that." So despite being first in line, I was like the 10th to leave the fucking store, at least, if not closer to the fucking 20th. And again, I was always nice with them, always kind, always fair. I always explained everything up front, and it doesn't half get you some fucking really, really good fucking customer support. The amount of little freebies that we've got over the years from them. Like, they give us, like, Halo figurines that I begged and pleaded that they gave my little brother 2 of them because he loved Halo. and it was the same figure twice. And one of them was the display model, and one of them was sealed in box, and you couldn't get them anymore, and it was already worth money. And I pleaded and said, if you give him both of those, you are being a bad parent. Because I'm telling you now, he will be able to sell that for a fucking fortune when he's older. I haven't dared look, but the last time I did look was about 10 years ago, and it was up there. It was some really fucking rare Halo thing that we only got because I knew the manager. Both of them gave me one for him. And they were for him at the end of the day, so I was never going to hide one and keep one and be scummy about it, but fucking hell do I wish that I had for his sake, let alone anything else, because that would have been worth a fucking fortune. But yeah. And I don't even get on with my brothers, and I'm still saying for his sake, but still, that's one of those that really hurts, because I know fine well that thing would have been worth a mint. Anyway, I think that is the end of this very long video. And again, I actually do have a lot of stories, because literally this was my escape. This was the place that when I really couldn't deal with everything that was going on with home, I would at least be able to get the fuck out and go to a video game store and talk to the people who I only could talk to about video games, and they'd always fucking know. Like, the amount of times that even the temps would at least have some game that they'd play, it's very rare that there were a bunch that didn't really care about games, and when they did and they were just there for the job, then obviously there's not much to bond over. But the amount of times that you'd just go in and it's like all of the fucking stereotypical sitcoms with comic book stores where people just start random arguments about fucking superheroes. It's like that, but with video games. It's like the amount of times you'd walk in and someone would be arguing that the SNES was the greatest thing in the history of mankind, and then you'd have the Genesis / Mega Drive kid, all of them fucking revolting, all one of them, because usually it was very SNES heavy here, which is weird, because I know Sega was one of the things where it was supposed to be really popular in the UK, but most of the people I knew, it was either or. It was like kind of 50-50. It wasn't really dominant until I got to teen years, and then suddenly it's like the more I started to congregate in these video game stores, they were all Nintendo kids, and I don't know how that happened, because it doesn't make sense, but it's just one of those statistical anomalies. And then you also obviously had the younger ones who were the PlayStation kids, and that then started to become very, very prominent. But thankfully, being that I was a PlayStation teenager, I was able to still talk to the people who were being hired slightly younger than me. But yeah, Ramble went into overdrive there. Until next time, I've been Sky Fellowship. I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!